Yeah, okay. So it's kind of nice to hear from a developer, right? Doing developer engagement and all of that. So thanks for having me. Spoiler alert, the LeSS transformation has really transformed my experience working at Accent, feeling me more involved in the challenges our business is facing. So to illustrate that, I'll tell a little story. So you have these two houses. And at the two houses, both families are having friends and family over for dinner. They're having some drinks, some snacks, and a full dinner. And at the end of the evening, they share their feedback. Some had a really great meal. This is great. And some had some constructive feedback. um, so pretty much the same is happening at both houses. However, there is one key difference. So in one house, they decided to have a ready-made meal they only had to heat up. And in the second house, they decided to cook everything from the ground up, to gather ingredients, develop a recipe, and cook it all by hand. So, and this is kind of how I feel about the LeSS transformation. But let me go into that. So let's go to the first house. This is kind of the before the LeSS transformation. So working as a developer kind of felt like heating up a ready-made meal. And how is that? That was because our backlog was full of very detailed refinements that were intensely analyzed and pretty much set in stone. You couldn't, yeah. So we had very few insights on how those requirements came to be. Basically, we had no clue why we were doing the stuff we were doing. So to be brutally honest, at that time, I was already happy when it did what they asked it to do. I just really didn't care. So let's go to the second house. How do you think those people would react? And contrary to the first house, how would they react to the feedback? In the first house, they probably would react and just take it to the supermarket or the industrial cook and stuff like that. But how would this house react? I think they would really take the feedback to heart and take the feedback to improve. And yeah, they would really take the feedback to heart, and this is kind of how I feel about the LeSS transformation. So because I have a closer contact with the end user, I'll talk about it soon enough. I can help design the solutions we're making to resolve the issues of our colleagues. And I have a better understanding, so to design that stuff. So, in summary, my job as a developer has shifted from merely heating up a ready-made meal into being involved in the full process of software development, from the ID popping up to bringing it into the hands of our users. So why do I feel so much more engaged? So as Sofie already told you, we have a lot of offices around Belgium, scattered around Belgium, and these are actually our customers. So unless a big team is to create happy customers, and our customers are actually our colleagues sitting in these offices. So during all the years I worked for Accent before the LeSS transformation, I didn't really go to an office. The only time I went to an office was when there were heavy snow days, and when it was physically not possible to go to the office. So I had no other choice to go to the office. But with the LeSS transformation, because we wanted to connect more closely to the end user, we were encouraged to go to the offices. And the fun thing is, we didn't go there to interrogate our end user and have a lot of questions and stuff like that. No, we went there to go work alongside them, to just do our IT work and we were just doing our IT work, and they were just doing their office work. But we were sitting in the same space, so so gathering feedback just happened when having a coffee, when taking lunch together, or by the end of the day, wrapping things up. So it was really casual, and I feel like this is the ultimate form of developer engagement, being so close to the user. Okay, so and one more thing, why I feel more involved are the refinements. So as many of you all already know, refinements take place really early in the process. An issue happens in production with our end users, and bam, we're already involved. We are really getting a feeling. I was really getting feeling. I was finally having a say in how we were going to fix the issues our business was facing. So, so with the refinements, as we include the end users within our refinements, within our meetings, there is an immediate connection between the business and the people that are going to fix their issues and fulfill their needs. So there's no intermediate person doing the difficult job to try to understand both sides and have to relay messages between them. So it's really nice to have that immediate connection and to just better understand them. So so having those refinement meetings is proof of a lot of trust from the management team, because they trust us with the decisions we take during those refinements. So yeah, and that trust really feels empowering to keep doing what we're doing and to keep being creative and motivated. So, and that happens also in the other way. We also feel like the solutions we make are of our own. So if an issue happens in production, I feel more motivated to fix it right away, as I have a deeper understanding of what the impact is on our business. So one more thing is the Scrum Master Guild. Cool name, right? But Hannes will tell you all about it soon enough. So be sure to look forward to that. So, but basically, with the Scrum Master Guild, I can have a say in the way we work together without losing the thing I love, and that is coding. So that I find really important. So with those office visits, the refinements, and the Scrum Master Guild, those are only a few examples of how I feel like being the Michelin chef in my own kitchen. So yeah, it's really nice. And another cook in the kitchen is Mark, which will tell you all about his experience as a functional analyst lead.
Thank you. So yeah, when I arrived at Accent initially, I was hired as a traditional functional analyst, meaning I was supposed to make functional analyses based on my own investigation, meeting with so-called stakeholders, people that sometimes rarely or never use the tools you were discussing about, but they were the persons to meet with. And as Sofie already mentioned, an analysis is not just some little document in Word or Excel or whatever. No, it had to be a well-structured total set of epics, features, PBIs, everything in Azure DevOps. So the moment that all this was done was always great, because this super feeling, you have all this user requirements nicely fit in user stories and taking into account all the probable, possible, even unlikely situations, and what can happen. Just go to the teams, have a meeting, of course, with the team specifically responsible for that part of the solution, but nothing can happen. We have a great document. So next step, let's do the team meetings. I'll diverge here in the two kind of team types that I came across with. And first there was like the, I call it chill out type of team. So always very nice meetings. You can just go there, present what you prepared, and most people are just sitting there and relaxed, nodding, agreeing with all your brilliant approaches and ideas. And once in a while there's like question from a team lead or somebody, but in general, everybody's very happy, and yeah, okay, I missed my clicker. So then everybody is happy, and you can just start programming next sprint, no problem. On the other side, we have the more perfectionistic type of team, and this meeting is really getting into a disaster because they just keep on questioning every little detail. Even they ask questions about why are we doing this? What is the purpose? I mean, come on, we just do this. And not long before there's only one option left. Let's go back to the stakeholders and propose them some modified light version of what was planned. But of course, they're not too happy about that either. So more discussion, going back and forth and back and forth, and just feeling more and more like some in between medium, and that's all I am. But luckily, in the end, at least we come to some solution that is somewhere in the middle. You can already imagine nobody's really happy about it, but hey, at least we have something to program. Yes, that was the purpose after all. So as I said, the other team, very good. They could already start programming. So new sprint, they just dive into it full force, at least for the first hour, at which point we run into some unforeseen circumstance that was not really described in the functional analysis. So only one option, just hold your horses, stop everything. And the functional analyst is going back to the stakeholder that is probably very busy at the moment and has no time. So we cannot discuss. And okay, that was it for this sprint for this item. So what is the impact of, first of all, it might seem a little bit exaggerated, but I'm sure that big parts of the story are not sounding so unrealistic for a lot of people. But what is the impact of all this on the person in the middle, on this chef that is preparing the ready to just heat it up, ready to cook meals for the developers? I would say it's mainly frustrations and regrets. Because if we could have developed this initial idea, it would have been such a nice tool for the users. And now, we are, let's be honest, we are stuck with that somewhere in the middle solution because of some technical limitations of the framework. I mean, users don't care about that. They just want what they asked it for. And frustrations because, as I said, nobody's really happy about it, but at least there is one thing that users and developers agree on, and that there is only one addressee for all their complaints. And I guess you know who that is. So does that mean that we were all depressed and frustrated employees at that time? No, of course not, because essentially we didn't know really some other way, and we just kept doing what we were doing until, as Louis said, we moved to the new house, the house where we don't need any just heat it up for the microwave meals anymore, a house where too many cooks hopefully don't spoil the broth anymore, and that's what we believed in. So as I was as my functional team lead of the functional analyst team, I was involved quite early in the process, and as such I think I was also among the better informed people in the IT department, and probably also about the early enthusiasts. But also it was very clear right from the start that this transformation would have a really big impact on the way that I and people in my team were working, because we were pre-chewing everything, and now it would have been done by everybody. So no surprise that there was quite some fuss and concerns in the team, and even people, just like Hannah said about the tester, also with the functional analysts, there was concern about what will we be doing then? If everything will be handled by the group, what's our function then? So they were really scared about this, but luckily it didn't last too long. Once we got started in the new way of working and they get used to the new reality, they also started seeing the opportunities and the benefits of the way we worked. And of course, this was not without any hiccups, because, for example, we did the big bang shift. So one day we were working in the old way, and then we did 2 days kaikaku, and then the Monday sprint started in the new way. That means there were quite some finished functional analyses laying on the shelf, going back to refinements, meaning that the functional analyst going back to the stakeholders and users, ask them, can you come over again to talk about the same stuff all over again? But of course, luckily, that was only the initial phase. After a while, we got used to it. And now is the question, what about now? How does the average functional analyst at Accent feel about her daily job at the moment? And what is the big difference between now and then? Now, at first, we are not in the middle of every discussion anymore. Big discussions are now handled in the refinement process, where both functional people and the technical people are, and the users are there, and the stakeholders are also still there. And as a result of this, we also start feeling more and more as a part of the bigger development team. Because before it was like you had the analysts, you have the developers, you have the testers. Now we are just more one group. And of course, we have different strengths and specialties than our hardcore technical colleagues, but we really have the mutual feeling that we reinforce each other in that way. And what's more, because we involve also these users in this process, we also tend to get their trust because they feel, we get a lot more buy-in because they feel heard and they feel involved in the process. What's more about these users, as we already told you, by going to offices and sit there for a day, we get to understand there, but they also understand IT better. We are not anymore that strange bunch of people sitting in the headquarters somewhere, but they really can stick a face to it, and if they have questions or issues, they know who they can address, and they know that we are working together. So, second thing is that has changed a lot to the good, is the speed of delivering tools and features. Now, of course, that shortens the feedback loop, and yes, it makes it more easy to see that you're doing the right thing. But what's also very important in our role is that it's just a great feeling that you can communicate to users that this feature that was just discussed about 1 or 2 weeks ago in refinement will be in the next release. Or, thank you for being at the review last week. The remarks you made were very good and we already included it, and tonight it will be live. So that's something that before we could never do. It was always months before something came live. And that also makes that both functional analysts and also the developers and everybody has grown really a more feeling of ownership and proud of the tools that we are creating. Now, as I already said, I was among the early enthusiasts. So I was also very happy at that time that I could join the Scrum Master Guild, just as Louis. What was also another way for me to grow my own engagement as an Accent employee. But I'll leave it to Hannes to tell you more about how we handle this and other recurring events at Accent.
It's on. I guess not on enough. It has a green light. Okay. So Scrum Master Guild. So when I knew I was going to give this talk to you, I talked to a few of my colleagues and I asked them, how did your engagement toward Accent change? I think Bram, one of the team leads, said it best when he said, my engagement has not changed. And I was like, what? No way. But he said, wait a second, it has not changed, but now there is a platform to channel that engagement. And then my penny dropped, because the platform he was talking about is our Scrum Master Guild. Big disclaimer here, we do not have one Scrum, we have no Scrum Masters in Accent. The only person with some agile something in his title is me being an agile coach. So maybe, probably you ask, what is our Scrum Master Guild then? So basically it's a weekly meeting that we have where everybody is invited to. Also very important, has an equal voice. And with everybody, I mean it. It goes from CIO, who also joins, up until the developer that joined just 2 weeks ago. Everybody is welcome. Now, the reason we get together is basically, or the goals of the Scrum Master Guild at least, are to solve short-term problems and try to optimize for long-term goals. We do that, well, we are able to do that because from our CIO we got the mandate, well, to change stuff around without having to go through extra hoops. I can't thank him enough for that actually, because we have done that with the Scrum Master Guild on both the mundane and quite radical level. Like, if you look at the last few months, we basically introduced 1 week sprint. We made trunk-based development the default. We urged, let's say, the developers to get out of headquarters and go sit with the users. So yeah, we're having a really quite a big impact. Maybe I'll have to go to the demo. I'll give you a bit more specific on how we operate. Come on, Miro, where are you? Ah, dang it. So this is our Scrum Master Guild board. It's a modified Obeya board based on a book of Tim Wiegel, Leading with Obeya. So the most important thing here are the purposes. Those are like the North Stars that we have, like 6. So the North Stars that we have for our Scrum Master Guild. Every action taken, every decision made should, in theory, try to optimize one or both, one or more of these purposes. Okay, it's a nice and all, but what do you do in practice? Like every week, we start with our inbox. So there's requests and problems that we have. Yeah, it's basically a space where anybody within Accent IT can post his or her IDs, his or her problems. And on average, we have like 5-ish items per week. From my perspective and from an engagement perspective, that's amazing. 5 items per week, because this is very similar to a concept everybody knows here. It's suggestion boxes. You know what suggestion boxes gather the most? Dust. So what's the difference? No, it's true. At least that's my experience in all my other companies. So what's, I think, the major difference between our working system and the dust gathering suggestion boxes? I think it's twofold. One, this system is fast. Like I say, we go over it every week. This means that there's at most 5 working days between somebody having an ID or a problem and it getting like processed. And 2, like I said, we have the authority to change stuff, or stir shit up, change stuff around. And we, like I said, we also use it. So that means that the requests and the problems are really handled in depth. And that is what I think makes sure that the developers keep coming back to this board to really ask for change. Also, they are the persons that have to also act on it. So after we went through the requests and problems, we go to the strategic capabilities. So the strategic capabilities are basically capabilities that we have voted on for having like the biggest impact on our purposes and like a time frame of half a year to a year. And again, I will stress here that it is done like by everybody from Accent IT. These capabilities have been thought of and voted on equal rights from CIO level up until developer level. Same, by the way, with the metrics. So each strategic capability have a number of metrics, which like are a sort of a proxy of how good are we doing or not doing with regards to the strategic capabilities. Also, these metrics have been thought up, implemented, and or maintained by CIO up until developer. That's completely different to what's normally happening. That's like management pushing down, like you have to do this and that. And also in my previous companies, yeah, it happened. In my previous companies, when it was something strategy related, what mostly happened, at least from a developer's perspective, is you got down in an Ola, you got out, and management came down and they gave a few speeches. You came back up, you sat on your desk, and then you just, you pretended nothing ever happened, because you didn't really care about all that stuff. Now, in practice, what we do is we also, like we do with the problems and requests, we go over it every week. We go over the metrics. We see, is it red? Is it green? If it's green, we ignore it. If it's red, we see, okay, what are the experiments that we can devise? What are the actions that we can take to get the metric closer to, or maybe in the green? And because we do that on a systematic basis, you really make sure that the people joining the Scrum Master Guild are really getting permeated by those strategic capabilities, by those metrics, and by and the need to improve all those things. Now, in the end, the systematic nature and the common goal of the Scrum Master Guild is really what improves our organization bit by bit. It's very similar to a retro, a well executed, at least a retro on a longer time frame. And seeing the organization improve, not only numerically but also qualitatively from a developer's perspective, is really, and with qualitatively I mean the better we are doing, the better feedback, the more positive feedback they are getting for their work from like the actual users, is making sure that they feel the appreciation for their work. And because they feel the appreciation, their engagement toward their work is going up, and also engagement towards the company. And that's why the Scrum Master Guild is, in my opinion, a giant positive feedback loop toward more engagement, both on a shorter and longer time frame. And that's why we at Accent IT believe we don't actually need Scrum Masters. What we want is that everybody within Accent IT is a change agent. Everybody should be a catalyst for change, because bottom-up change is the only change that sticks. And it's only if change sticks that it can have an impact on your organization. Now, luckily for me, Louis is here and he can show you some impact that we already have had with all the things that we have been doing.
Yeah, so two of these strategic capabilities that Hannes talked about were lead time and technical health. And I'll just give these two examples of how we improved those 2 points. So, yeah, so we eliminated lead time pretty drastically, and we made serious strides towards our technical health. But this presentation isn't called how less impacted our business. It's called how less improved our developer engagement. Well, I am here to tell you that both of them, business results and developer engagement go hand in hand. So let's go into lead time. So lead time is really important because it indicates how fast you can adapt to sudden issues or real-time events. So if it's raining, all the time it takes to open up your umbrella, you're just getting wet. So that time is really valuable. What does this have to do with developer engagement? So let's take this incredibly accurate graph. So yeah, actually I have no real data to back me up, but I'll tell you a little story that I hope you can relate to. Take a big thesis, for example. You get the assignment at the beginning. You're pretty enthusiastic. You start brainstorming some topics. You find a topic that you really like. You do some high-level research, and you maybe put in some words already. So you're really enthusiastic at the beginning. But then the grind starts kicking in, and you start losing motivation pretty drastically. And then you start to postpone and postpone and postpone. And then here we are, right before the deadline. And the only thing that remains is, not many motivation left, but only a huge amount of stress. So you want to do, you're at a point that you just want to do the minimal to get past your grade. So so it's really important. So you start losing that initial spark you already have. And for developer engagement, it's really important to keep that, to cultivate that initial spark of enthusiasm to create developer engagement, because a developer needs to be enthusiastic and motivated to get engaged in the first place. So having really short tasks helps you cultivate that initial spark in the beginning. So you can keep them motivated, start a task, finish a task, start a new task, finish a task. So that's for our lead time and why it's important for developer engagement. And then we have technical health. This is a metric that's very dear to my heart, because we have a solution. Let's say Buckingham Palace is is our admin solution. We developed a lot of automated tests, and we put them all in a pipeline. At the time we were having our LeSS transformation, the pipeline was more red than it was green. So a lot of people were ignoring it out of existence. And this was me with some other people identifying themselves as testers who were keeping the pipeline in check, failing miserably. Actually 50% of my job and their job was just monitoring the pipeline and try fixing it. So the other ones were just ignoring it out of existence. But that was when the Scrum Master pipeline popped in. And we started brainstorming on some short-term initiatives to get the pipeline in check and get more people involved. And because more people got involved, our tests were being fixed more rapidly, and the pipeline was pretty rapidly becoming more green than it was red. It's still quite some time red, but we find more bugs, and people are starting to find the value in it. So I see you're hungry for some more statistics, and Mark will bring some more.
Yeah. Yes. So since we are talking about developer engagement, it's best source to get this results about that is from the developers themselves. Now we have been doing some survey all over the IT department for the past 3 years, which has the benefit that this was started before we even were thinking about LeSS. There was one time that this was, we were more or less in the initial phase, and then the last time was this summer, which we say, we already did some steps. So we can compare results. Now, a little bit about the setup. So in every edition, the first edition, we had like the 3 kind of domains of question that we were asking. And of course, once we started the transformation, we added a new domain about the transformation. And within each domain, we used the same questions every time again. So we could really compare the positive and negative answers. And as a response rate, we had about 4 persons each time. So which is about 65% of the people which are involved in this process. So first domain was a little bit about happiness. And there we selected these 2 because, as I already mentioned a couple of times, for a lot of people, their role and the content of their role was really changed by the transformation we did. But still we see that, a little bit more people are happy. And what's more, that there are no people that are really unhappy anymore about this. So it's good that this change was not perceived as, I really liked what I do and now I don't like it anymore. And also very important for people to stay is that they have the feeling that they can cope with the pressure and the pace. So it's very nice to see that there was an increasing happiness about the maintainable pace. Now, secondly, it's about more the processes and the structure. So the first one is a little bit might seem a little bit odd that we first have people saying that we have less knowledge about our processes than before, and then it's increasing again. Now, I think we can explain that by also taking account that we not only changed the way of working and refinement and this, but we also changed from the domain-specific teams to the cross-functional teams that every team is working on everything. So that means that this time people were answering this question, but yes, I think we have enough knowledge about these specific topics that we are working about. And then suddenly they had to work in all areas, and they said, oh, but wait a minute, we only know this part of it and we don't know enough about the rest. And now, okay, we are only among almost about the same as before, but the big difference here is that it's not about this domain specific knowledge, but they have this feeling about the whole set of knowledge that they need. So I think, virtually it's really an increase in if you look at the total picture. And also a very important one, of course, since it was one of the purposes of the change, is that teams are more working together, so we can have the lead time going down and work quicker. So it's good that they also feel that it's encouraged to work together. Then the next category is about operational things, and there is also a very important one is the operational issues, because this is the area where our customers, the people working in the offices, having people in front of them that are looking for a job, when they get into some error, they get helped quickly. And the quicker they are helped, the better rating that we get, but also the better it is for the company, because they can help this person in front of them. And due to the way we changed our working, not all bugs have to go to a specific team. They can work together. They can solve, every team can solve different things. So it's very nice that also the people feel that they are better armed to get to these operational issues. And transparency is also one of the things which is important in this transformation. So it's good to see that people also have the feeling that they are better informed and they know better what's going around in IT. Now then, from here it's more about the transformation itself, so that's why 2021 is not anymore there. Very good that most people see that this has a positive impact, because if not, we should have done something else. And also very important that developers are really more seeing the value of things that we are delivering. As Louis said before, they just did what was asked, and now they do what they really think is important, because we commonly decided what is important. And what's more, also the highest value for Accent, as Sofie said in the beginning, before we had the roadmap. So we did things because they were on the roadmap and not because they were valuable. Maybe they seemed valuable at the moment the roadmap was made, but the year after, in October, they were not valuable anymore, but it was on the roadmap, so we just did it. And now we have more the feeling that we do what is most valuable. Is everybody agreeing on what has the highest value? No, of course not, but I think, if you're a group of starting from 2 people, for sure there are some things that they don't agree on. So, and then another one that really signs that, it was not a walk in the park. Refinements in the beginning was really a struggle. We came from, as I described, the situation where functional analyst comes to say what it should be, and then people have to think along. We had to find the ways to do this. It was really a struggle, but we are going in the right direction, it seems, because people are more and more having the feeling that they are effective, which is good, because we don't want people to have the feeling that they are just losing their time sitting in a refinement. So all in all, I think we are going in a good direction, isn't it, Sofie?
Yes, so we made the change. Have we achieved every goal we wanted? No, not yet. Are we ready for what's coming? I would say yes. but also no, because we see developer engagement as a driver of continuous improvement. Let me elaborate a little bit. As we already heard, it all starts with trust. Trust by opening our Scrum Master Guild for everyone who is interested and really giving him the mandate to decide and change things. Then we also need transparency. We have one product backlog who is accessible and available at all times. So whoever feels the need to just check and see what's upcoming next, they can do. And then, as Mark and Louis already talked a little bit about it, we are much closer to our end user. We really want to understand what problem we want to solve with our software. We do care and we are more involved. So if these 3 boxes are checked, so trust, transparency, and involvement, then you have more developer engagement. And then you have a good basis for more developer engagement. And if you have more developer engagement, then they will be people that are more involved will be more likely to pose new ideas, to make suggestions, to consider improvements. They will be more motivated to just get the work done and really show to the end users what they have been doing. And we also see an increase of ownership. As Mark already mentioned before, we see a really big difference in how we are handling our operational issues. And that really has a big impact on our end users. It's partly because of a better cross-team collaboration, but I'm also convinced that it's because there is more ownership. We do care more about what we are doing. So that is another great effect. This all translates into better results. Better results like having happy end users. Last month, we had our semi-annual seminar, and IT and our products were really the talk of the town. So they were really happy with what we have been doing last year. We have also less people leaving the company. So we have really a decrease in employee turnover. And in fact, if we have less people leaving the company, then we have more team stability. If we have more team stability, this also has an impact on our lead time. And our lead time, in fact, it decreased with 81%. So we had a roadmap for a full year in advance. And now we are really delivering much, much faster. So we had a decrease of 81%. So I can say that we can definitely talk about better results. But the most important change is we care. We do care, and everybody cares about what we are doing. So to conclude, we are working harder by doing more experiments. We are making it better by creating the right thing and being close to the end user. We are doing it faster by doing it right. And we are making us stronger by having a set of recurring learning events. So thank you all for joining.